Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned in to another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Reports, or TLDR for short. If my face looks terribly straight and terribly concerned, it's because I've been thinking about what's coming down the pike today. And I know that after I say this, you're going to think, wow, Chris, sounds like a first world problem to me. Well, of course it's a first world problem. I live in the first world. What other problems am I going to have? I mean, my problems don't go away just because I live in the first world, do they? I wish that was the case. I wish nobody has problems, but unfortunately we all has problems. This is not a problem, though. I'm streaming live, as I do every single weekday, specifically for my patrons. They get all of TLDR, the full access from beginning to end, and it's usually around an hour long. However, if you're not a patron, and you can become one, by the way, at chrispirillo.com, if you're not a patron, though, then you only get part of TLDR. And I'm going to be talking today about how I feel about Android, specifically Marshmallow, on my Nexus 7, because I finally got it. Yay! I talked about it a while ago as, looking forward to getting Marshmallow on the Nexus 7, but I didn't have it, so I couldn't really talk directly about it. Now that I have it, I want to make one remark about Google Android and possibly even fragmentation and specifically Nexus 7, etc. Google is doing a better job with software than Apple is. Whoa. I'm going to say that again, just in case you need to quote me somewhere. Google is doing a better job with software, specifically platforms, than Apple is. Why would I say something like that? Well, it's because Apple has rendered current-gen devices sloppy with, forget iOS 7, forget iOS 8. Let's just stick with iOS 9, right? iOS 9, running on an iPad Air 2. That's my experience with iOS 9 on the iPad Air 2. And I even heard word, this is where the first world problem comes into play. On Twitter last night, I got tagged in on a thread. There are a few people who noticed these massive, in our estimation, massive performance snags with iOS specifically on devices. Frame drops left and right. Someone, actually more than one person, including Raul Madera, who is a patron, who sees these same issues, who's talked to software engineering at Apple, apparently, he sees issues with the iPad Pro. Frame drops. Performance issues on the iPad Pro, which is fast. It's got the specs, but it still drops frames. I'm not going to quote that, because that's absolute. So I'm concerned that even though I'm getting the iPad Pro, it's coming here today, I'm going to be unboxing it live, and hopefully you'll tune into that even after it's live, possibly. I'm looking forward to it. I am. I absolutely am. No doubt in my mind. But the fact that I already know it's going to be a problem because the software can't keep up with the hardware has me concerned. Why did I get it? Bigger screen? Because of my use case? Specifically here in the Play Shop. And I primarily use it as a consumption device. It would not be a PC replacement for me. I just know that Apple has a long way to go with optimization, even in its own default apps on the iPad Pro. Why am I saying this in talking about a video about Android and Marshmallow? Because I think Google has done a better job with Marshmallow than Apple has done with iOS 9, specifically with its current range of devices. I don't even think they sell the Nexus 7 anymore. Do they? Do they even sell this anymore? It runs very well on the Nexus 7. Very well. Do you understand my frustration? Google is doing a better job with software optimization in terms of raw performance on older devices than Apple. Apple just kind of slops things on. Well, you can run iOS 9 on your old iPad. Yeah, if you want to see frame drops left and right, you want to talk about an extreme lack of smoothness. I know Apple gets blamed for copying Google all the time, but this is not the way you copy Google, okay? Android has been long known to drop frames. This is not just me saying this. I wanted to point that out. As I scroll here on this page, it's smoothish. I mean, it's not, incredibly smooth, but I'm not noticing any discernible lag on this Nexus 7, which spec-wise is lower, way lower than an iPad Air 2. But sometimes on the iPad Air 2, it'll just drop frames, scrolling. What is going on? What is Apple thinking? I'm telling you, Apple may be a leading company. They may be a world-class company when it comes to hardware, but when it comes to software, they are slipping. That's how I'm going to finish that word. For whatever it's worth, for those who are paying attention, who are upset that I'm not talking enough about Android and Marshmallow, specifically in a video titled this, what I'm trying to explain to you is that a new OS from Google runs better on older hardware than a new OS from Apple runs on their hardware. Do you feel me? So to me, that speaks to the quality of engineering that went in to Android compared to the quality of engineering that went into iOS 9. Get it out the door. Who cares? It'll work. It'll run. Oh. Apple's mantra is, let's get hardware out the door, keep the software running poor. Poor Lee. Think different. Lee. By the way, I am scrolling on a page. This anybody can take advantage of, whether you use iOS or Android or anything. Head over to a link that I just tweeted from my account, at Chris Pirillo. I shared it on my Facebook page as well. Google is giving away a ton of free comic books this morning, including Walking Dead #1, Orphan Black #1, Spawn #1. They also have My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic #1. For any of you bronies out there, possibly Skylanders #1, Star Trek Planet of the Apes mashup #1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters #1, Transformers Robots in Disguise #1, The X-Files Season 10, Old Detective Comics, and they also have, a few other titles that I've never even heard of, but let's see if I can find it exactly. Where is it? Dude, I know I grabbed it. It was on this page. Where did it go? Oh, no. It was here. Oh, there it is, at the very, very bottom. Star Wars Previews 1. This is like a 100-some-odd page comic book, I believe. So you can get tons of free comics, is what I'm saying. Google Play. Viewing full screen. Got it. Very smooth transitions. No frame drops there. It's downloading right now over a very, 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 very slow connection. And then hopefully as soon as it's downloaded, I'll be able to pull it up. See? Looks got a little spinning wheel telling me that it's going on. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Can I zoom in? Yeah. Pretty smooth. Scrolling around. Pretty smooth. Or at least smooth enough from what I can see. How do I swipe? There we go. I had to wait for the page to load. Apparently. Clean graphics, clean transition in terms of moving the page left and right. Not perfect, but I feel that Google Android, specifically Marshmallow, Android runs smoother on an Nexus 7 than iOS 9 runs on an iPad Air 2. And do you understand what I'm saying? So spec-wise, and honestly, because I could go, down the list of, these are all the things I like in Marshmallow. They're iterative updates. The bottom line is the experience, and the experience on old hardware with new software is better than new hardware with new software. Google, if they could clean up the rest of their act, and believe you me, they've got a lot to clean up, I think is going to clean Apple's clock in terms of prowess, of the approach that they take to the software and optimization. I don't know. I don't know where Apple's head's at. I really genuinely don't. Each new OS gets steadily worse in terms of performance, as far as iOS is concerned. Usability is taking a backseat, and I don't care what anybody else says. I've stopped trusting a lot of tech reviewers out there, wholesale, because they don't bring that up. They talk about Android Marshmallow, new features and everything, but well, how well does it run on older hardware? That, to me, is a testament to the quality of the engineering that went into the design of the platform. And Apple doesn't have it. Maybe iOS 9.2 will change everything. I doubt it. Maybe iOS 10. We can't bank on maybes. You just can't. You got to take each thing for what it is. And I think Google's doing a fantastic job with Android. Google is doing a better job with Android than Apple's doing with iOS, generally speaking, in terms of how well it's running on a system, whether it's a current system, a modern system, or maybe even an older system. Software is taking a backseat in terms of quality control. And you might think, oh, Chris, you're just being too harsh. Really? I'm being too harsh. I don't know if you caught the news yesterday. We covered it, at least the patrons and I did, where certain certificates, security certificates, had lapsed through certain apps that you would have attained through the Mac App Store. developers are just, beside themselves. Like, they can't believe this is going on. What's going on? It's horrible. The process by which an app goes through, or through which an app goes through specifically for inclusion or updates in the App Store on the Mac is far behind. It's woefully behind. And let's see if I can give you some direct quotes, because if you want to do your own research, you're more than welcome to. I keep an eye on a lot of developers, because to me, they're canaries in the coal mine. So I was reading an article the other day, or yesterday, as a matter of fact, from MJTSAI, and he's basically, the title is "No One Minding the Store." That's the title. No one minding the store. And it's all about Apple's complete lack of attention when it comes to software quality control, effectively. That's what it boils down to. Shame. Oh, God, this whole video has been an Apple rant, which I'm sure, this is the funny thing, I'm sure people came looking for me to talk specifically about how I like Marshmallow on my device, actually probably appreciate. I'm giving them their due. I'm giving you your due. Marshmallow runs exceedingly well on my Nexus 7, and that's all you kind of need to know. Do I have access to every single feature on Marshmallow? No, I don't, but I don't necessarily need to have access to all the features to know that I have the latest OS running, have all the apps that I possibly need to have on here. Everything runs as smoothly as I would expect it to run. In fact, smoother. With every iteration, Android gets better and better and better and better. And this is in stark contrast to the experience that I've had specifically with Apple and iOS. It's not perfect, but in terms of what I paid for this device and the experience that I still get, I feel they're in line with one another, and that's really the only thing I can speak to is experience. I'm much happier with Android Marshmallow on my Nexus 7 than I am with iOS 9 on my iPad Air 2. I don't know if I could say anything more than that. I mean, I could dive into each app, and you've read all that. You know all that. The bottom line has been my experience being better. It's frustrating. I don't understand. I mean, it's great for Google. Good on Google. Not just for the free comic books, but for everybody else. Yeah, it's disappointing. So hopefully you enjoyed this tiny rant. If you did not, I'm not going to apologize, because that's everything I wanted to say specifically about it. If you are still with me and you're a patron, I'm going to be talking a bit more about, or answering questions. This is the AMA portion of things. Feel free to continue to listen. Then I'm going to be moving into Tech News Views. And you can ask me specific questions about what I just covered, and I will address them right now. By the way, I believe Eric may be coming over soonish, two-ish, maybe. I got my OLED TV from LG. They said they wanted me to watch Star Wars on it. I'm like, okay, I'm in. They sent a TV for me to watch Star Wars on. And then someone on Facebook, I did a live stream on the Mentions app. I can do live streaming on Facebook. You probably caught that. He said, I hope you're not going to game on it because it has a 40 millisecond response time or delay time or lag time or something. I'm like, I don't even know if I'd perceive that. It's possible because I notice those small things, but I'm not a hardcore gamer guy. I like playing video games. I like Star Wars games. That's really, and the retro stuff. So response time, not as exciting for me. We'll see how well it plays, because yes, I do plan on playing video games with that OLED TV. So I believe he's coming over to help me mount it on the bedroom wall to replace the old plasma screen. That unboxing, I'm thinking we may do in a Periscope. If we can get Diana to hold the Periscope camera, and we'll just Periscope the whole unboxing and the mounting of the thingy, and make it a good old time. And then later, maybe we'll play some video games on it. So that's the story. Eric is coming over after this is over. Hopefully he will give me time to shower. That's another story. I woke up a little early because the TV was delivered early. Not complaining. Oh, and then speaking of live unboxings, I will be, if I do get it today, unboxing the iPad Pro in this or in my classic YouTube channel. That will be live for everybody, but it'll probably be closer to evening time. Possibly. So a lot of stuff going on in the Pirillo household today. A lot. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate it. But I do have to move on specifically to address questions tech questions from the patrons and then cover some tech news for today.
Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from ChrisPirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through ChrisPirillo.com.